Hello, and welcome to Talk.Therapy.Heal, where a group of licensed professionals come together and talk about everyday topics and challenges. Join us as we dig in to the latest topic.
Hi, I'm Kenya King.
Hey, I'm Rachel Logan.
Hello, I'm Marisha Perlow.
And I'm Unica Willis, known as Nikki.
Hey y'all, my name is Chantrell King. And so tonight's episode, we are going to be speaking about petty arguments. And I know some of you all may be thinking, what does that have to do with mental health?
A lot.
Right.
All out there being petty.
Yes, petty arguments. And if, for you all to kind of grab some contents, we're going to, hit it from every angle. But if we really look at today's world, today's time, there is so much division due to arguments. And how does that affect our mental health? So we're going to get into tonight's show.
All right. So I guess because we like to define stuff for y'all, we're going to let Miss Rachel define what petty means, because some of y'all might not know what petty means.
Right.
Okay, because, we can be petty sometimes. That language like, girl, I'm going to be petty. Right? Stop being petty. Okay,
Right.
So petty means of little importance or trivial. Insignificant, unimportant, small, especially in a small-minded or spiteful way. So it's having behavior characterized by being small-minded or spiteful. I don't think we're called to be spiteful, y'all.
Or small-minded.
No.
Yeah.
That's kind of like an insult.
I know it is.
It's like
an insult.
Yeah.
You small-minded, but how often do we say, I'm going to be petty? So you telling yourself you about to be small-minded.
I'm going to be spiteful towards that person.
And for what? For what?
Because we mad. We are petty for a reason. I don't think we out here. Well, some people might be petty. Not speak for everybody. But typically you're being petty because they did something to you. So you're triggered in some kind of way. That's
You
why.
feel a certain way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you're being petty.
Yeah. I think for a lot of individuals, they don't necessarily go into an argument trying to be petty or trying to start an argument. Sometimes it's a defense mechanism that person feels that they have to use in order to either get back at a person or to try to one up an individual. So you say something that offends me. Oh, I know something about you. So you go take it a little bit lower and hit them up under the belt in order to try to shut them down.
Ooh, I've been seeing that all over the social. All over the
TV.
So you see that on politics?
Yes. Mudslinging is what they used to call it. Yeah.
Just being petty. But it doesn't want or give you anything. Like it doesn't
Benefit you.
Yeah, it doesn't add anything to you to be petty. And so I guess how do we stop being petty?
Being spiteful.
How do we stop that?
I think.
Go ahead, baby.
No, I was about to say, I think that it goes to kind of what, because we have conversations off the air, and then we bring it on. But it's asking yourself why. Getting to the root for yourself. Why? Why do I feel the need to respond back? Why do I feel to take a dig or shot, or what is it they say today? Catching strays. Like why? Like a person.
To be something.
Yeah, so that's the latest slang where, like we used to say back in the day, oh, you throwing digs at someone. The kids is like, so if I'm coming in on Kenya, it's like, yo, why he catching strays? Why is he catching your pettiness,
Right.
your bitterness, your divisiveness? And so that's the thing that I've been thinking when we, was collaborating on topics that we see that need to be discussed. Why? Now, I'm not going to act like I'm perfect. I tell myself, baby, because when they said we was growing up, it was the dirty dozen. Oh, we can do this if you want to go there. But it's something, I think Kenya had just said, it's like, when you know that you have tools, oh, you want to clown me in front of everybody?
I got something for you.
Oh, baby. And how many people have y'all heard say this, especially clients? Oh, I have a tongue that's sharp. Oh, I can reach out and touch you with my tongue. I can tear you down and not even have to physically touch you. Like I could rip you to shreds. And so it's like, I don't understand. I think the other side of it is, why do people feel the need? Because somebody said this earlier about, Kenya was just talking about, I have to feel like one up. But why do people feel the need? It's something about you, Larisha. Every time I see you, people gravitate to you. But it's something in me. It's not Larisha, it's me. But why do I have to bring you down so you can look like you're less than in their eyes to make myself feel better?
That's pain.
Yeah, it can be a lot of pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of individuals, especially when we start talking about cognitive behavioral, they have low self-esteem because you present yourself in a way that presents a threat to them. Then they have to try to do what they can to lower you so that they feel that they're above you. And people do it all the time. Somebody may come by and say, "Oh, nice dress you got on there. Does that make you feel better about yourself?" It's a nice dress, but the problem is they probably mad because they didn't buy it or they secretly want that dress. And so you're comparing yourself with somebody, and you shouldn't be doing that. When we think about individuals from a socioeconomic status, when people say, "Why are you turning your nose down at me?" They have to make themselves feel like they're above that individual. You may have more money than that person does, but this person can still be wealthier than you because they have a wife, they have people that love them, and you're still looking for a gap or a hole somewhere in your life that you're trying to fill, and you think money is going to take care of that. So a lot of different reasons why people do it, but for me, and I've seen this, and Shan will probably start to remember this. We've been around a lot of people in our 21 years military, not trying to call anyone out, but I've seen a lot of individuals, they are the loudest person in the group. And they will try to downplay you and talk down to you because they have to be seen as the person that controls everything. But really underneath, there's probably this little boy, this little girl that didn't have a voice when they were younger. And so what they're doing now is trying to make up for that, and you're totally overcompensating.
It's pain. I just keep hearing a person who's hurting. That's why you're being petty. So you were offended. There's bitterness. There's low self-esteem.
Or they weren't heard.
They
had a voice that was taken away in some shape, form, or fashion. The individual could not get a point across in some way. And so this is that way of getting back at it, is by bringing up the small, minute things to try to gain in the argument, to try to get a leg up. There you go.
To have a sense of importance,
Acknowledgement, or I put you in your place now. Your rank that you once had because you thought you were this, now I brought you down here.
I just think about how unhealthy that is long term, like how that can impact your mental health, because then you can walk around so guarded and jaded that you're no longer connecting with people. If you're walking around with that mindset, and you're paranoid that people don't like you, so now you're walking around hurting others, your mental health cannot be sound.
Absolutely
if you're
not.
being petty all the time.
Not at all. I mean, if we're really honest, when we do see it, then we know people who have been petty. I mean, living in this world, you have so many people that are petty, right? If you think back on how they project or how they present themselves, would you say that they're a mentally stable person?
No.
There's something going on. Like you can tell that there's something deeper. And I feel like even the regular people, and when I say regular people, I'm saying you're not a therapist, you're not trained to see certain things. I feel like with the naked eye, you can see something, you can see that hurt. You can see that pain. Like I have to put myself up here so that it's like I'm proven. I have to prove myself, and I'm constantly having to prove myself. And even when the person that we feel like we have to prove ourselves to is not even doing anything against us, it's that mindset. So that mindset is so, wow, it's so jaded. It's shifted in such a negative manner that they can't even see when someone is just trying to be there for them, trying to support them, trying to encourage them, because they are filled with all of this, whatever it is that they're filled with, this hurt, this pain, that you can't even break through that. That's Wow.
Yeah. Can it be jealousy?
Oh, yeah.
Could be.
And the reason why I say that, and you guys have to forgive me because I'm gonna go to the Bible in a point. Pettiness. Genesis, first, second chapter. The enemy. God made man in his own image. But he said, I don't need y'all eating from this tree that's in the midst of the garden. What's the first thing that the enemy did? You know, if you eat from that tree, you're going to be just like God. Petty. Why was that so minute at that point that he had to stoop that low? Because it wasn't them that needed to be like God. It was him. So a lot of individuals are very petty because they're looking at you and they want to be like you secretly. But they can't be because they ain't operating in their calling. They can't be you. There's only one you. God made you in his. I'm going to leave that one alone.
You know, this is what came to my mind as you all were speaking scripture. I can't help it.
Yeah.
This is what came to my mind. And it, James 1:8. So a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. An unstable man, I remember hearing that, unstable man or woman is unstable in all his ways. So everything about the individual is unstable. And you're so double-minded because we've seen this with people. We could probably put a couple of diagnoses to this, but we won't. But we've seen this with some people to where, okay, let me just speak for me for a minute. I can't do double-mindedness.
No.
I cannot do double-mindedness because this is just me. I'm loyal to a fault. So if Kenya and Rachel are sitting here and, you know, we're all having nice conversation, but then let's say Kenya's like, later, maybe we're coworkers and, oh, Rachel, is she this and this and this and this? But then when we come together the next weekend, then you, oh yeah, Rachel's skinning and grinning as we say in the country. Then I'm looking at you funny because I'm like, wait a minute. That's to me double-mindedness. But backbiting, that part. Yeah. And it's like, why? Because you were not acting like, so that tells me I need to, as I would say, fall back. I can't trust you because if you would do that to Rachel, you would do it to me.
Exactly.
So when I think about people who intentionally divide, you're intentionally, I'm going to share this and I promise I'm a hush because this is what made me think about too. Posted on our social media page a while back. And so it says a simple meme and it said watermelon or pineapples. And then the person at the bottom said, you all are so good for putting the or where God put an and. And I was like, what's pros? You all are so good for putting the or, meaning you had to pick a side for where God put an and. Pineapples and watermelon can go together. But it's always, I don't know, what is it do y'all think in this day and time? I don't remember this growing up. How did it come about where it's like we got to pick a side, Republican or Democrat? You know, believer, non-believer, this, that. Like,
I feel like
for the G. She's saying. I'm just saying.
I feel like it was happening when we were coming up. It just wasn't as in our face as it is today because social media makes it readily available and right there in our face. Whereas there was divides, and I know we called this like a subtitle, it's the Great Divide. There was great divides within the family way back when. And this has been great divides back biblically. Like there was always been a great divide within and the family units because of something that someone thought based versus what is. So being petty, you see something of what you thought and not even looking at what is, and so you're judging based on what you thought and not the actual this is what it is. So then there's that divide, and now because I think like this, you have to choose what I think if you're part of my family. If you ain't gonna be a part of my family and you choosing that, then now we're against each other. And that becomes and then it becomes petty because why like you said, why does it have to be an or when it could be an and? Why can't we just be together and be okay together without having to choose a side? Why can't I like pineapple and watermelon and you like pineapple and watermelon?
Because I'm not happy with it myself for a lot of people. And I'll give you a good example. Baby, can I use you as an example?
Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr.
No, really.
Yes, please.
The pettiness of it all. When Shannon
Did you just call me?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, don't use
ain't crazy.
Honestly.
No. When Shannon and I
Right.
were,
I record.
I know, when we were stationed in Germany, I remember I had asked her out one evening, and she told me, "So, well, what time are you going to be here?" And I gave her the time. And at some point in time of me, before I got there, she was getting ready. She was coming down the hallway, and some lady said something to her about what her ethnicity was. And when she told them that she had Indian in her family, then here comes the pettiness. Why everybody got to have to be Indian? You know, and it's a divide because you're not affiliating yourself with who we want to affiliate you with, and you're making a clear, distinct separation. We're going to go ahead and do that and make something that's good about you negative, so I can feel better about myself. And then the jealousy part comes in is because maybe it wasn't like this for everybody, but I know when I grew up, if a female said something about having Indian in her family, hair, the cheekbones, or whatever, all the guys went that way. And so the other females are like, oh, well, they just going out there because she got pretty hair. It's because you lack something within yourself. Because as you get older and your self-esteem starts to grow, you will say, well, that's your loss. Because just because somebody's got this blood in them don't mean that's the best. I could have been this, that, and other, but you passed on up on that because of what you think is better. So you're thinking, in a sense, negative about yourself. You got to build yourself up. If you don't like a person because they got good hair, then be blessed with the hair that God gave you, because there's a lot of people around here that ain't got no hair.
Come on.
And that's why I think it leads to that jealousy. And when you move into that realm to say, anybody, I believe, can be petty. You get to know somebody, you can pick something out about them. You don't have to have the sharpest tongue. Only thing you got to do is pay attention. But I teach this to some of my clients where I work at. And the name of the psychoeducational piece that I use has to do with dealing with difficult people and avoiding conflict or dealing with conflict. The number one thing that this individual, the author, always says is don't take the bait. The minute somebody throws something petty at you, you ain't got to say nothing.
You don't.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. King, for saying that.
Yeah, you don't have to say anything.
You don't have to say nothing. I don't know, Rachel, recall the conversation we were having a little earlier. Like, you just don't have to say anything. Be silent. Because at the end of the day, what they going to do? Argue with themselves?
Right.
You're fueling it.
Right.
You're fueling it.
Right.
Don't be small-minded. Exactly.
I think the thing that's most interesting now that I've learned, because like I said, I would unleash on you. But it was the point that you said, when we think about our mental health, what is that doing? I used to go to bed angry. I used to think about, oh, let that joker say something tomorrow. And then it builds and builds and builds. Yes. Now that's, you know, it's actual premeditated, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's premeditated, so you're ruminating on that thing. But this is what I find today. Just to your point, Nikki, people will get so mad now when you won't argue with them.
Because I want you to.
Yes. Think about like on a job. Like I was telling Ken, you know, had this meeting, whatever, and it was this individual, because I'm trying not to be too specific, but it was this individual that was literally trying to call me out on like a Teams meeting. And so I just sit there. But what was funny is because when people don't know anything about you.
Oh, I wrote that.
I'm sorry. Stay with it. Because I'm feeling you, because you got something too. But when people don't know anything about you, we don't take the time to get to know each other. So being a licensed professional, and you know, when you on Zoom or Teams, you can see everybody's body language. So I'm cracking up laughing because the leaders in the group was looking like, ooh, he's coming for, because he comes for everybody. He's coming for her. I wonder how she's going to handle it. And so then not only beyond that, you keep going and saying, was that Chantrell right there sitting behind Rachel? Is that Chantrell? And I sit there with poison class. Learn something. I sit there with poison class because what I'm doing is calming my inner self down because I understand deliverance and God is a keeper. But people don't know who's a pistol.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
You can't throw the rock and then cry wolf later because you initiated it. We used to get in trouble for that in school. Who started the fight?
Right.
Your punishment was worse. I don't know what they're doing now. Probably hand out participation awards. However, I brought that up to say when he kept provoking and that they're looking like how she's going to handle this. And I said, well, I'm the one that was responsible for it. I did just like this. I said, nice to meet you. Thank you. And sit there. That joker was hotter than a rattlesnake. But guess what? You went to bed mad because, and this is what I hope you all understand when it comes to your mental health, you do not have to take other people's stuff in. You are giving them permission to have power over you when you do that.
Yeah.
They controlling you.
So once you learn you, in that last show we was talking about was self-care, my self-care will not allow this foolishness to come in. My self-care will not allow you to divide me from Nikki.
Yeah.
Because you don't like her. That's between y'all. That don't have nothing to do with me. And don't bring me into it. Because remember I said some people are pistols.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
No, you were good and you were in there. That was something that I was thinking when Kenya was talking, is that people, when they don't know you, they judge you or they try to place you in a box that makes sense to them. So if you are out here doing all of these things, and like he said, like you got Indian in your family and they couldn't place you in the box they wanted you to be in, now they want to be petty because no, how can you say you got that? You ain't got that. Everybody say they got Indian. No, it ain't got nothing to do with all of that. Nothing to do with all of that. You don't know me. And you can't place me somewhere because my self-care is already in place and I won't let you. Come on, build on this. I won't let you on this.
Listen, I think about this. You said something that's so important. When people come at you, you don't have to match their energy. People, you hear this like, I match energy.
Oh my God. Why would you want to match that negativity?
Why exactly? You don't have to. You come in with your positivity. You come in with your holiness, your sanctification, your poise. Like you match. You don't need to match nobody energy. You bring the energy. You shift the atmosphere. You set the tone. You set the temperature. Stop matching someone who is toxic.
Woo!
Ooh, come on, Larisha.
I think it goes back to your whole mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What are you thinking? You know, what are you seeing? You know what I mean? If you see toxic, sometimes you spew toxic. If you're in that environment that has toxicity, I mean, it's all about your mindset.
Yes.
Earlier we were talking about like hurt people, if I can say it that way, but it's about your mindset. Like where is it at? You know what I mean? I want this person to hurt like I've hurt.
Wow.
I want, this person to feel what I feel. And it's an unconscious thing sometimes. I mean, primarily intentional when people are petty, but it's your mindset. Where's your mind? What are you thinking on? But
and I think the thing when you say where's your mindset, people are never really looking at how they can resolve a thing. They're always looking at how they can get back at the other person. I'm a one up you. So it's never, they're never stepping back. And you were talking about the energy to zoom out, assess the bigger picture to even determine if the argument is even worth your energy. Is it even worth the strain on the relationship? Like, are y'all going to be okay after this? Do you want to be okay after this? Because if you want to be okay with after this, then why are you shooting back when you don't have to? You don't even have to load your gun. Like you said, I don't have to be moved by your negative energy. I can decide that I'm going to, you know what? I want to resolve this thing. How can we resolve it? So going in and communicating, right? So that the effective communication, what y'all doing with pettiness and arguing with these petty arguments, that's not effective. It's not giving you anything. It's not giving anyone anything at that point, right? Like you're not resolving the conflict or even preventing the petty argument from even escalating. So like you always saying, like, don't match the energy, slide back, pull back, whatever it is y'all language y'all using, pull back, let people do what they're going to do. If they're going to want to argue about things because they don't know you, let them do that. Don't give rise to it. Don't feed into it, because the moment you put fuel on a fire, it's going to make the fire bigger.
Absolutely.
It's going to continue to grow. And that fuel comes when these little petty comments are made back and forth with one another. Y'all are just making the fire bigger, so much so to when it's all said and done, the whole entire thing, the relationship or the family, is burned down.
And I think it's not only just in relationships where it comes to husband, wife, family members. It's done that way at work as well. And in my opinion, when it comes to pettiness is just a way for individuals to be divisive, so that those areas where people are very strong at, they want to try to break it down to make it weak for this importance of self-gain. And I'll use that as an example. I worked in the area for a number of years, and there were some individuals that literally came after me. And my boss told me this: people are afraid of what they don't know. They don't know what your rank was when you were in the military. They didn't know that I had a degree. They made a lot of different statements about me. And she said, they're just afraid because they don't know who you are. All these other people, they know about them. They don't know how to come at you. And because you present yourself in a professional manner, then guess what? That's what you're getting. And so with my coworker, it was the same thing. They didn't know a lot about her, but we was on the same sheet of music. So if we can start being petty, at some point we go try to divide them, and they just couldn't do it. Now, for me, I will tell you this. Once again, people are afraid of what they don't know, but you don't want to mess around and find out. It's not about being petty. Sometimes when you did all you can do, you stand. And sometimes that means that you have to get people off of your back in a professional manner to let them know, look, I'm not sure what it is that you're trying to do, but would you mind telling everyone so that we can all try to get this thing figured out?
Ooh, that's how much.
Yeah.
Oh,
So now they're on the spot.
yeah.
I'm just trying to be helpful. What is it that why is it that you felt the need to say something of that magnitude? Were you trying to call me out, or was it something great than that? They have to be the ones that gives the response.
Accountability.
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 I want to share a scripture that would be really key as you are like kind of giving them examples of how to handle someone being petty. It's James 1:19. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, but the anger of a man does not produce the righteousness of God. So he gives us, like, the word gives us real clear instructions. Be quick to hear. So like you say, evaluate, listen, but be slow to speak. So you don't have to match that energy, right? Be slow to anger. So that's controlling your mood, your mindset, right? Because you could have got it. I love it.
Classy, sit up.
Yes. Because you recognize that the anger of a man does not produce righteousness. And I think it goes back, like, what are you trying to produce in that environment?
Absolutely.
Right? How do you want your name to be known?
Yes.
They want you to come outside of yourself so that they can say, see, I told you.
And they have control of it.
And they have control of it. So when you take that control back, then they realize that you have more self-control. And then at some point, is what they say in the Bible: resist the devil,
and he will flee.
And he'll flee.
That's true.
And they have no part but to just go about their business. Yeah.
That just really just touched me right there. Resist the devil and he will flee. Because what, you're not giving anything to him. You're not matching anything for him. What else does he have? He has to go.
No power.
He has no
powerless.
Powerless at that point.
One of the, so as you all were speaking, I'm writing, of course, so I'm not trying to be rude to my counterparts, but I wrote down maturity is one of the things that I was thinking. So when it comes to pettiness, or being petty, the opposite is someone that's mature. And maturity, I'm sorry, is it yours? Hold yourself, keep it, because I want to hear what you got to say. Trust me, because I'm ready to go like this. So maturity, but then it kind of goes back to the previous show that we had when we were talking about setting boundaries. And so I wrote that down. But the thing is, creating an atmosphere of peace recognize those who are divisive. You do not have to be in fellowship with people who are divisive. I mean, and you very well could be an example for them. But one of the things, the terms that I often like to say is I do not play well with adult children. That's what I say. I do not play well. And when I say adult children, I'm not trying to belittle anyone, but when we was a child, we spanked as a child, but when we put away childish things. And the thing is, a lot of adults, and we can see it on social media. What are y'all arguing about? Some of y'all arguing with an AI bot of somebody's account that has been hacked, and you really up here big mad and arguing. I'm just saying, they doing it. People's accounts being hacked all the time. So you arguing with a bot. And you really think you one up in a bot. But anyway, so I put adult children, and in parentheses, I put unhealed. Because it lets me know that when someone is divisive, they're petty, they're always angry, they always have something negative coming out of their mouth, the little child in that person, him or her, is unhealed. And so for me, who has done the work and put in the work, blood, sweat, and tears to get to a place of healing, I am not going to jeopardize that by associating myself or even allowing someone who is petty to have power over me. So some of y'all remember we used to say back in the day, game recognize game. Mm-hmm. Heal recognize heal.
Yeah, that's good.
And so the conversation, and I'm a hush, heal, recognize, heal. The conversation is totally different when you are conversing with someone that is healed, because the conversation is healthy. It's positive. I want to be more in your presence. You are happy. You are light when you leave their presence. But someone who is petty, divisive, an adult child, unhealed, is draining, is negative. You looking at the phone like, I can't even today. I can't. It's going to voicemail. You may even text them, yeah, I can't right now. I'm a little busy. You might be lying. But you feel like I don't want to put up with that draining negative.
Okay, what if you petty? Like, we're talking about how to stay away or how to respond to people who are petty. But what if you're the petty person, you no longer want to be petty?
Before we answer that, can I say?
Please.
No, that's good. I was just going to simply say, I was thinking of the opposite.
Okay. Okay.
And you said mature, but I saw depth.
Oh,
if we look
that's
like,
good.
if we liken it to a tree, right? Tree grows from the root up. Our words, right, have the ability to produce death or life, right? So a person that's not petty, a person that is opposite of that, has that depth. That means they understand that that person is not healed. That means they understand that, they could potentially be walking in a fence. That means that they understand that maybe there was something that was done that triggered them. But
that's good.
A not petty person, an unpetty person, right, has depth.
Oh, that's
And in
good.
order to move forward and not be petty, you gotta get some depth. That means you gotta take a look at your words.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where they coming from?
I love that, and that goes into what Rachel was asking, and I wrote that question: how do I stop from engaging in petty arguments?
Yeah,
and so I have some tips.
Yes, come on, help us.
Come on, got some tips. So one, I really want to talk about, and then I want to also get into the whole definition or forgiveness piece of it too, right? So choose your battles wisely. Evaluate whether the argument aligns with your values and goals before engaging. Focus on issues of significance rather than trivial matters. So the little small things, stop focusing on that. What's the real issue? Like you said, Kenya, with the coworker, I'm seeing that whatever, blah, blah, blah. Can you help us all out and figuring this thing out? The other thing is seek understanding, not victory. Shift your focus from winning the argument to understanding each other's viewpoint and working towards mutual understanding and respect. We can't keep going at each other thinking that I'm going to gain respect by going back and forth with you. No, let's stop trying to win. And this is in all arenas when we talk about that. Stop trying to win. What are you even going to win? What's the prize? Right. What is the prize? So I wanted to talk about forgiveness. Now, hopefully it doesn't shift us too much in going with the forgiveness piece of it. But when I was studying and doing my notes on this topic, one of the things that came up for me was forgiveness. And I want to give the definition. I know Rachel is our definition girl, but I have a biblical definition
Give it to us.
of forgiveness is to pardon, give up resentment, and grant relief to an offender. Grant
It's
relief.
That
Wow.
part.
Oh my God. It was like you release it, you let it go. Okay, I'm no longer going to go back and forth with you on that. And so the scripture that came up for me with that was Colossians 3:13. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any one of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord has forgiven you.
Yeah.
How easy would that be? Like, God forgave you. You did a whole lot of stuff. We did a whole lot of stuff. How can I sit here and go after you about something that I feel like you've done when I've done just as much and God forgave me?
Yeah.
But I can't forgive you. I'm going to hold on to this trivial thing.
So I want you to pause, get your paper and pen out, and I want you to write down, who do you need to forgive?
Yes.
Who do you need to release?
Yes.
What resentment are you still harboring because of what they did or didn't do? Like
Yes.
this is purposeful. We want you to stop being petty. But learn how to respond when someone's being petty. So if it means to forgive, my definition is to grant someone mercy, even though they don't deserve it. Right? So who do you need to grant mercy to?
Yeah.
Even though they don't deserve your kindness and compassion.
Yes.
So pause and for real, write that list down and let them go. Release the resentment.
Yes. I want to take that to what we were talking earlier about reconciling. So the scripture about reconciling is 2 Corinthians 5:18. I'm going to start with 18. I might go to 20. But at 18, all this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. 19, that God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them. And he has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We have to reconcile.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is what we forgive, and this is what we do. We come back and we reconcile. What is reconcile? I should have looked at the definition up. Pull that up, because Larissa got something else she gonna add to that.
Go ahead. So reconcile just simply means to restore. It means to restore, to settle, resolve, to make consistent, to cause to submit or to accept something unpleasant.
To accept something unpleasant.
Yes.
And you know what that is?
What's that?
What's that?
That wrongness that you did for being petty. Opening up your mouth when you probably shouldn't have. Trying to make somebody else fall into a pit. And so for me, everything that you guys are saying is caught up in John 8 chapter when the woman was caught in adultery. And so the pettiness came from the Pharisees.
Yeah.
And they gonna try to trip Jesus up. Are y'all really? Y'all gonna try to throw something at Jesus like that? And they say, hey, this woman was caught in adultery. You know what the law of Moses says? What say you?
What say you?
And he didn't have to say anything because he realized he didn't have to answer. And then the thing that was significant about this for me, Jesus didn't say anything. And the Bible says the woman never said anything either. You got to know when to keep your mouth shut so that these people that are throwing stuff at you will just walk away. Because it said one by one.
Yeah.
And when he finally said it, let he who is without sin cast first stone, get on up away from here. And then it goes right into what you guys were talking about, forgiveness and reconciliation. Woman, where are your accusers? I don't know. Well, I accuse you not either. And so he said, go forth and sin no more. And so therefore you are free. The forgiveness came. But my biggest question, every time I read that, where was the man at? You got the audacity to call me out for what you called me doing, but you didn't bring him too? Shouldn't both? Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone too.
That's
A whole nother thing. Yes.
Right.
What you got?
Oh, go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say just real quick, real quick,
Put it out there.
blurbs there. So reconciliation is to restore. That implies that there is a rupture or a break, right, into something. And so in the scriptures, it talks about that we've been given, right, this ministry of reconciliation. And because we've been given it, we need to know how to like put it into place. So it goes on to say, let me just read it. Verse 19, 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 19, it says, that is that God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself, not imputing their trespasses to them, and has committed to us the word of reconciliation. And so I'm just going to simply say that, again, our words, you know what I mean? We have within the words that we're given to speak that life, to correct, to build up, to edify, you know what I mean? But when we don't, the petty comes. So are we open to restoring? Are we open to repairing, you know what I mean? The great divide.
So what words repair?
What word is repair?
What words repair?
Oh, what words is repair?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Change behavior.
Yes.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Change
Absolutely.
behavior.
Yes. Oh, because y'all know what I said in previous shows, change behavior or an apology without change behavior is manipulation.
Yes.
So if you ain't changing the behavior, your words mean absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
It makes me think of my favorite scriptures is, and it's 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love. Love. And I mean, if we're not petty, we're responding in a loving way, right? If we're not cutting off your throat, right? I'm loving you, right? Because I think about the restore, I think about the restoration, the ministry of reconciling, and I think about that's love. So love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It's all these things we said that petty is. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hope, always persevere.
Always. I guess to sit up and think as I'm listening to you all, because of course we start off with petty and then, forgiveness and love. And just what keep coming back to me, especially when you've taken the time to do the work on yourself, as we mentioned before, is freeing. When you're not petty, your mind is free. I'm thinking about the mental health. I'm thinking about the mental weight, the mental anguish. I'm thinking about some of the diagnoses that we often have clients that comes in. And for me, I'm not heavy on the diagnosing because I want to get to the root. I will diagnose, but I'm not heavy on that. I want to see you for you and not your diagnosis and stuff and how you feel about your potential diagnosis and what you think and what you even know about it. But it's like, when I think about depression, anxiety, those are two of the main ones that it seems like people are really dealing with. I'm trying to be real careful with my words for those who've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. But then it also makes me think, what in your mind is not free? As we're talking about forgiveness and you ask the question, what if I'm the petty one? Again, that's that self identity, searching yourself, searching within. What is it about me that I always feel like I got to put my mouth on someone else? Where did I get that from? Because these are some of the things that I ask my clients when they're trying to work on self. If you don't mind me asking, what was the root of that? Let's talk about that. Let's peel back the onion layers on that. And I'm going to share this because I had this conversation earlier today. And I know we're talking about pettiness and, being in bondage is what I'm thinking about. When you are petty and consistently petty, judgmental, divisive, you are in bondage. And sometimes we will slap our title
Yep.
on that foolishness to say, oh no, because I have this certain title,
I can see.
then no, I'm right in this. No, you're justifying foolishness.
That's good.
And so how much in that could you be free if you did the work, self-work, and really said, I'm going to go and work with a therapist. I want to get to the root of it. What I was talking to someone about today, and of course, I'm not against any of these things, but y'all could, the common thing that I'm seeing as individuals are coming to therapy and we dig down to the root of the pettiness.
Mm-hmm.
It is, oh my God, it's things that have allowed to been run through the generational bloodstream, family.
Yeah.
Because, well, my big mama, my mama, my cousin, they was always petty like that.
Mhm.
That because we were talking about, and let's just talk about our culture for just a second. Things that are said in our culture that's really petty and divisive, but we we laugh about it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've done the work and set the boundaries, you address that thing right there.
Yeah.
Let's not do that again because that's not funny. So, for example, in our shared culture, some of the things that have passed down as funny in the bloodline, but it's actually bullying and petty, for example, is if someone comes in and they're small. So I'm just going to kind of use an example. Kenya's smaller than I am. Oh boy, get over in this kitchen. Let me feed you. You walking around looking like this. Let me put some meat on your bones. But you don't know what you're doing to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Or I got a little bit more extra love than Kenya. So, girl, you want to push away from the table? Every time we see you, you getting bigger and bigger. That's not cute. And why did you have to do that in front of all these people? So I'm seeing generational things. One of the things that I spoke about is being in bondage. Listen to what I'm saying when I say this. Being in bondage with religion, not relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Because as I work with one of my clients and we got to the root as to why do you do this? Why do you click, tick, and boom? Well, because I didn't have a voice when I was younger. And some of the things that we learned in religion that was not in the Bible, we still walking around with Little House on the Prairie dresses on down our ankles. No shade to anybody to do that. But I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
Where is that biblically in the scripture? So we're allowing ourselves to be in bondage, and then we'll even be petty with it because we really didn't take the time to get to the root.
Yeah. And that's the part that I think people will miss. Where did it start from? And for a lot of people, I can't speak for everybody. Think back to when you were a child. The first time somebody said something a little sideways to you, what did everybody else say? Ooh, you gonna take that? What you gonna say? So we were kind of taught to just come back and fire at that. And the older you got, people will say, don't let nobody talk to you like that. And you do this, that, and the other. And then, like Shan was saying, we do have this generational thing, and this is the one that gets me all the time. Oh, girl, I see you got your little business going.
Love. Everything's love.
That's gotta be love.
Look at
It's
your
a
love.
business.
This the whole.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I see you doing your thing a little bit. Why you gotta be a little bit?
Why is everything love?
Yeah. And that's the one that gets me is because something about you, because you didn't start a business, you didn't do what you wanted to do, you're going to take that on me.
Yeah.
And people say, my clock got the same numbers that you got on yours. I get 24 hours in a day, you got 24 hours. What I decided to do with mine was this. And because of that, whatever God has got for me, you call little if you want to. I know what my blessing is. And people are just not happy, I think, within themselves.
It goes back to identity.
Yeah. Right back to identity. Yeah.
So if you want to stop being petty, what I hear you say is work on yourself.
Work on yourself. That's it. Quit looking at everybody else because everybody got their own problems. We have to focus on the issue that is at hand. And we have to understand that whenever this pettiness comes about, doesn't matter if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, coworkers, it's going to cause a division somewhere in that. So from a relational perspective, when you're talking about husband and wife, if y'all are being petty with one another, watch your kids. I guarantee you, brother and sister are going to start being petty. And then when they get married, it spreads out in their marriage down to their kids. You planted a negative seed and it's generational all the way down.
So I know we've been kind of talking about the whole generational thing and some of the things on how to kind of break it or not to be petty.
Mhm.
But when we're talking about a generational cycle, a cyclical thing that has been happening over and over and over again, and it's
Mhm.
all you see. And I don't know that it's me because this is normal
Wow.
in my world.
Yeah.
How do I identify that I am being petty? You know, we talked about how to stop engaging in it, but how do I even identify that I am petty?
I think he said, like, look at the fruit that you're bearing,
Mhm.
right? Like, so if you have divided relationships, if you're alone, if you can get along with people, if people are having an attitude towards you, like, I think look at your life because it will show if you're being petty.
Mhm.
So the fruit.
Yeah, and sometimes the reason why people keep doing these petty things because we don't say nothing right off the bat. We don't have to fire back, but sometimes you just have to let a person know that was not nice. What was the reason for you having to call that out? And I say that because Shan was watching a show one time, and I can't remember what the show was, but there was some lady that was going back and forth, and one lady popped out and said something. Well, at least I can give my husband a child.
Yes. She dug deep, and the other one was barren.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow. I said, now that was low. What did that have to do with the price of beans in China? That had nothing to do with the conversation, but she felt like that she was getting one up. So now I'm going to cut you down. So I don't know. Why would you say something like that? You know I can't have children, and that is something that is hurtful to me. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta call that out in order for it to stop, but just in a professional way. Because if you don't, that person's just gonna keep going and going and going.
So when we're talking, I know you're hitting it from a professional stance, and I'm asking these questions because I know this is what a lot of people be thinking within the family. How do I call it out in the family without it escalating though into something else? If I want to call you out for what you said because it was hurtful and you hit below the belt. But instead of me coming back at you with the fuel, how can I address that without still fueling you?
Go ahead.
I just want to say you got to do it privately.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, because I've heard and I've worked with clients where they do it publicly and like in front of everybody. Yeah, and that just adds because then there's like side conversations and it continues to fuel. So I will definitely
like that thing you said. Ooh, you hear that? Ooh.
Privately. Just talk to that person by yourself and go with the intentions of reconciliation.
Yes.
Right? Not with the intention of I gotta be right. Just kind of circling back what we all been saying, but to go with the intentions of I need to share my heart with you.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is like I feel, right? So I felt,
that
when you said that, that hurt my heart because that hurt my feelings because, you knew I was struggling with that. And next time, if you got something to say, I appreciate you just come to me directly instead of doing it in front of everybody. So I practice and modeling it, but go privately. Do it in secret.
Yeah. And I also think letting that person know what you won't do and what you would never do. So, Jesse, I'm not sure.
It can't be naming people. Hey, Jesse.
I'm not sure why you said what you said out there in front of our family, but I just want you to know that was very hurtful. And I would never, ever put you in a situation to feel that way. Now it's back on that individual.
Yeah.
Now, I honestly believe in some families, you're just going to get that person just going to keep going, and keep going. But you know what? You can keep going too. You don't have to keep going to the barbecues. You don't have to keep going to the birthday parties when you know that you're going to be treated that way. And then sometimes you have to bless people with your absence.
That's so far. Can you put that on?
Bless people with your absence.
I love that. Oh, I love that.
I'm writing it down.
I love that.
That's going to be a quote. So, you heard it here at Talk Therapy.Heal.
Bless people with your absence. That is amazing.
It's okay in families.
Yes.
Because you think you have this obligation to always show up, but you don't have to. If it's not safe, if it's triggering, if it's causing you to feel less, no.
Well, I'm gonna say one quick thing because I know we come to the end. You got to be honest. But in line with what you were saying and when I was speaking about boundaries earlier, when you've done the work and you've set the boundaries, you've communicated those boundaries with people. Case in point, let's say our social media page, Facebook to be exact. We don't do no negativity, no arguing or nothing. We put that thing out there. You will get blocked, removed. We don't even care.
Right.
And so what happens is when people argue, because we're not always on social media, but say like, you know, Rachel's coming to Kenya or vice versa, people will tag us. Naples, Choctaw, hey, these people, blah, 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 blah. Like you want to get your boy. So, or your home. If your home is a place of peace, people know we have a sign that our children, our adult children got us that said, check your energy before you enter this house. They know their parents. And so if you're going to come argue and be divisive, you're not welcome in the king's home.
That's it.
Boundary.
It is.
That blessing, we got to end, y'all. We got to close out. This has been really good.
Right.
We hope that you all got something from this this show today. I am going to allow us to have that one quick statement that you want to leave the people with that you feel like will be a blessing to them.
I'll just leave you with this. Does a leaf cry when it's blown off the tree? Most time it's not. You get broken off of a branch, but there's other leaves around. Sometimes you have to break away from people in order to get connected to others.
Okay. Okay. I feel like that's it.
Right. I'm trying to process on that. Look,
I think chew on that.
How we gonna follow that?
Yeah, chew on that, and we're gonna let y'all go with that one. Just remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can receive nuggets like this.
Yes.
In the next show. We thank you all for joining us. See y'all next time here on Talk Therapy Heal.
Bye.
Bye.